Welcome to the fourth part of my series on the teaching of fractions. In this video, we'll be looking at comparing fractions. Now let us first begin by looking at unit fractions. Unit fractions are fractions with a numerator of 1. Before we can compare fractions, however, we will need a few tools. The first tool that we are going to use is our fraction wall. Then we will need a few descriptors. These descriptors help us to compare one fraction with the other. The first descriptor is the greater than sign, written like this. Then we have the less than sign, written like this. Then we have the equal to sign, written as this. These descriptors are necessary to compare fractions because one fraction can either be greater than the other, less than the other, or equal to each other. Now let us look at an example. Suppose if we had to compare a half and a third. Then I will take the half strip from the fraction wall and the third strip from the fraction wall, then put them alongside each other like this. Then I will observe which of the two is longer. I can see that the half is longer than the third and therefore conclude that a half is greater than a third. We can also look at this another way. We can also see that a third is less than a half. This is because the third strip is shorter than that of the half strip. We can also do this abstractly. That is to say, we can use equivalent fractions to determine which of the two is greater than each other, or if the two fractions are equal to each other. Keep in mind that to change a number to an equivalent fraction, we have to simply multiply the numerator and the denominator of that said fraction by the same number. If we wish to get the same family of a half and a third, then the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. So I ask myself, what do I multiply a half by to give me a denominator of 6? That answer is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And because I multiply by 3 in the denominator, I have to multiply by 3 in the numerator. So a half would be equivalent to 1 times 3 over 2 times 3. And this will give me 3 over 6. I can do the same for the third. I ask myself, what do I multiply the denominator of a third by to give me 6? I multiplied by 2. So because I multiplied by 2 in the denominator, I need to multiply by 2 in the numerator. So that a third would be equal to 1 times 2 over 3 times 2. This is equal to 2/6. Now that I have the fractions having the same family, the family of 6, that is, we can simply use the numerator to determine which of the two fractions is larger, smaller, or even if both fractions are the same. In this case, we can see that 3 is greater than 2, so therefore we can say 3/6 is greater than 2/6. However, the question asked you to compare a half and a third. So what you need to do is to give the equivalence to 3/6 and the equivalence to 2/6. That is to say, our answer should reflect a half and a third. So we can see a half is greater than a third. Or you can also see that a third is less than a half. Here is a trivia question. Which fraction is greater, 1/100th or 1/20th? Can you say why? The answer is coming up at the end of this presentation. Now let us turn our attention to composite fractions. Suppose if you had to arrange the fractions in ascending order, 2/3, 4/12, and 5/6. Then, like with the unit fraction, we use the fraction walls. We use the third strip, and because we see 2/3, we use 2 of these strips and put them alongside each other. We do the same for the 12 strips. We see 4/12, so we select the 12 strips, but remember, since there are 4 12s, we need 4 of these strips. We align them to each other, put them alongside each other so that they touch each other. This helps us to make an accurate comparison. We are also going to do the same for the 6th. We are going to select a 6th strip, and since there are 5 6ths, we need 5 of these strips alongside each other. Now we can do the comparison. Since they are to be arranged in ascending order means you are going to start from the lowest, work to the highest. The lowest by comparison here is the 4/12, followed by the 2/3. Then we have the largest being 5/6. This problem could have also been done abstractly by using equivalent fractions. Note here that the lowest common denominator will be 12. So we will need to find out what we are multiplying each denominator by to give me the 12. Let's take 2/3 for example. We multiply the 3 by 4 to give me the 12. And because of that, we need to multiply the numerator by 4 also. So that we would have 2/3 is equal to 2 times 4 over 3 times 4, which is equal to 8 over 12. We can do the same for the 5/6. Now we would have to determine what we multiply the denominator by to give me 12. We need to multiply 6 by 2 to give me 12. And since we multiplied by 2 in the denominator, we need to multiply by 2 in the numerator. So that 5/6 would be equal to 5 times 2 over 6 times 2, which is equivalent to 10/12. Now that we have the same family of 12, we can compare the 3 fractions simply by looking at the numerator. So we can see in ascending order, we would have 4/12, followed by 2/3, followed by 5/6. Keeping in mind, we do not put the answer in the family, meaning 8/12 and 10/12. simply because these were not given in our original answer. This, therefore, is how we will present our answer. Now, turning our attention to the trivia question, we can see 1/20th is greater than 1/100th. This is because as the numerator of a unit fraction increases, the portion it represents gets smaller. Additionally, the smaller the denominator, the portion becomes bigger. That is to say, if you had a fraction like 1/100th being compared to 1/20th, because the 100th in the denominator is larger, this means that the fraction 1/100th is actually smaller than the fraction 1/20th. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.